Here, I'm in the dark, but I'm here. Hopefully the
We're
lights
all
will
in the
come
dark.
back. We're all in the dark. That's right. So I'm here with SHIFRA HENDRIE, and she's nice enough to come on from Eretz Israel, and we've been sort of communicating a little bit. And there are a lot of very interesting things that I really like to know about what's going on in Israel. I mean, I'm kind of on my own little crow's nest here, but SHIFRA, I don't really know your background. I know that she's like a well-known person, and she's in the therapeutic community, and she's in the spiritual community. And maybe you could just give, like, introduce my people to, let's see, how many, what do we have here? We have one person. Okay. Oh, let me put it on the chat. I'm sorry that I'm so, like, I've just been like doing things all day. So yeah, so let's just go. And also this will be be recirculated. So if we don't get a lot of people now, a lot of people could come later. And
Whatever it is. The only great reason to have people, not the only, but it would be nice if people have questions, if we could answer them, but we'll see what happens.
right, exactly. So do you want to go into a little summary of your kind of like your background? And
Yeah, I grew up secular like you did. Long time ago, I had a mystical encounter with the Rebbe that I wasn't even sure at the time that I believed in God. I was studying East Asian studies. I believed there was something, but God was too much for me. I did feel proud to be Jewish, but not for any specific reason. I was just brought up that way. And after this mystical encounter, basically the Rebbe told me, I asked him for spiritual advice. I had been told by the people who were educating, who were talking to me about the Rebbe, that he would answer a question, but if he answers a question and tells you to do something, you have to do it. So basically, I'd heard these stories, these mystical stories of people who wrote in, they needed a healing, or they needed to meet someone, or they needed help with money or whatever. And the Rebbe would tell them things like, give charity every day, give tzedakah every day, or light candles for Shabbat, or things like that. Start studying Torah. I figured, I could do that. If the Rebbe tells me to do that, I could do that. It would be worth it. So I got this answer 2 days later, where the Rebbe said that I need to live according to the true nature of every Jew, which is the will of God as expressed in the code of Jewish law. In other words, I was supposed to become religious, and I had told the Rebbe I didn't necessarily believe in God. And I'm not going to tell the whole story here, but if people want to check it out, you can Google SHIFRA HENDRIE, the tapestry. The tapestry, I write my story there, and it's pretty amazing, and it changed my life like overnight. Told me that the unseen is real, and that every soul is being guided. It told me the power of the cosmic souls, those central souls like the Rebbe, the central soul of our times. And yeah, it's worth it for those who are interested in the deeper. So long story, I got married. I have children. They're grown up now. And at some point we had challenges of various types that brought me deeper into myself, like challenges do. I think that's a lot of what's happening in the world right now, that we're being disrupted. Every disruption is an opportunity, like the caterpillar being disrupted from crawling around the ground by going to the cocoon and melting down. It's an opportunity to get to a higher level. I think we're all aware that that's part of what's happening. So anyway, I ended up, many details missing here, but I ended up finding out, or being offered a course in hosting interview series at the time called telesummits. I had to pay for this course more than I could afford. We were deeply in debt. And I had made a commitment to myself that I would do it, whatever the teacher said. Long story short, I ended up with an audience, and the audience grew. And then some people started asking me, can you teach? Like, I would mention Kabbalah. I called it authentic Kabbalah. I would mention it, and people started to email me. Could you teach a class? Could you teach us? Maybe you could be interviewed. Maybe you could offer something. So over time, I started to do that as well. And parallel with that, I became a coach. Anyway, that's the very short version of the story, but I ended up getting to know a lot of people, and all of it just happened to me. Like, you kind of described what happened to you. You really are in the dark, Ellie.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to check my camera again.
Okay.
Maybe I have to. It could be the back. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Let's see if we do this a bit. Maybe that'll help.
Oh yeah, you're brighter, even though we don't see the ocean. Anyway, so I ended up without having an intention, just following, in my case, I needed to do something to try to build my email list so I could try to offer some kind of little program or whatever, because we were so strapped, and everything was scary. But in the end, step by step, it just opened up all these opportunities. So I ended up knowing, this was back in 2010 that I started doing these summits, and I ended up knowing some pretty well-known figures in the New Age movement. And I would always include in my list of like 20 speakers or whatever, I would include a few rabbis or women, Torah teachers, Hasidus teachers, because Jewish, as you know, Jewish mysticism is so deep and it's so universal. I talk to people of all backgrounds, and it's so important to me that people know that the Torah is for everyone, not Judaism. Judaism's not for everyone. The Torah is for everyone, and the redemption is for everyone. God is for everyone. We're all in this together, and the quality of Torah is the blueprint for the world, and for creation, the quality of depth and truth and incredible resonance and transformational power of this deep mysticism, which is here for everyone in the world, everyone on the planet today is meant to nourish themselves with this. And it is the solution. It's like the medicine, for the ills of our times, for the fear that we've been living with that have caused us to not notice what's going on, the ability to brainwash us because we're disconnected, because we're disassociated, because we're working so hard, like trying to struggle through our days. All of this, when we stop and start to nourish ourselves with this deeper godly truth, it starts to change everything. It changes our brain, it changes our vibration, it changes what we see, it changes what's drawn to us. We start to live with purpose, we start to feel empowered. We can start to, a lot of people are experiencing, I don't know, are you experiencing like intuitive powers coming online more and more?
I think so, yeah.
I hear that from a lot of people. I am. Things that I didn't know that I could ever do, like level after level, they seem to be coming online. And I think that that's the destiny of all of us. Like, what is it? I'm thinking about metamorphosis all the time. What is that thing that happens to a caterpillar? Hi, Billy Bear. A caterpillar has to go in the cocoon and actually melt down into gel. And then when it's all melted down, then certain cells, they're called imaginal cells, start to guide the caterpillar in turning into a butterfly. And I really feel like we're going through that. It's not so easy. It's not, it sounds all like, oh, butterfly is so cute, but it's serious. It's serious transformational work. And one of the many incredible things about what you're doing here with the kabbalahguru family is connecting with people of all different kinds of backgrounds from around the world. And this is a group of people that is spiritually attuned, that knows something's wrong, that looks deeper, that wants to know more. This is in a certain sense the creme de la creme of humanity, the imaginal cells, I would say, those that see a different future and are, by vibrating with that future and kind of moving into it, they're actually pulling the rest of the world into a new place. And I think that's what's happening here. That's part of what Geula is. That's really what Geula is.
That's so beautiful. I mean, yeah, I'm dealing with this darkness issue. It seems like when I look at the camera, it brightens up.
You're good.
Yeah, so I have to keep looking at the camera. Amazing, because I really rather look at your face so I can see what's going on. But there's a lot. I'm seeing a lot of things like in the like the Schumann resonance and all this. Like people are saying the sunspots are going wild. There's all kinds of energy, protons, and everything is like streaming onto the earth. And so I think we're it seems to me like we're our powers are increasing, our ability, our intuitive powers, our I don't know about telekinesis, but telepathy. I mean, certainly, I feel more connected to people, and I'm willing to, suspend disbelief. Like if I have a thought about somebody far away, I understand that's really a real connection, that you're actually communicating with this person across time and space.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Torah is full of these things, but like you mentioned the sun. I remember, I don't even know how long ago, 30 years ago, hearing the prophecy that in the time of redemption, God would remove the shield that's covering the sun. And there are mystical explanations for that, but like who knew about like the Schumann resonance or any of that at that time? And even these ideas of power, have the powers, intuitive powers, making a connection, telepathy, seeing energy, being able to energy healing. That's such a big deal. Being able to change someone's well-being with your thoughts and intentions and prayers. we could know these concepts but not know the reality of them. Now it's the time when the reality of it all is coming out. And that's amazing. To live in these times is unbelievable. Hi, I guess I said hi to Billy Bear first. Hi again.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's an amazing transformational period. I was thinking today. I don't know what's going on with these lights. I really apologize.
You're okay now.
It's okay. Yeah, the distractions. But um, I was thinking this morning of likening it to. Here's Renita. Okay, we got some peeps. Billy, not to. I'm having coffee. Cool. Yeah, it's really important for our people, for my community, to hear from another Jewish person about that's very spiritual and connected with Kabbalah and connected with mysticism, and really, I mean, I think at the end of the day, to combine all these, to look for confluence, to look for where rivers come together. So because there's so much misinformation out there, and it's like, so how do we fight the misinformation with what I think is confluence? In other words, we put points together. We say, this thought stream meets this thought stream, so this must be something that I need to investigate at least. And yeah. um,
Yeah, and they're actually one of the, talking about prophecy, there is a, I don't know if it's a prophecy, it was told to me that it's a law. This is one of the things I heard 3.5 decades ago, that there's some kind of Torah principle. God creates a state of being that Esav hates Yaakov, that there is such a thing as anti-Semitism. I can't really and it says that Esav soned Yaakov, that Esav, the Western Christian world, we could say, will hate the Jewish world until Mashiach comes. The thing is that Mashiach is basically, this is the Messianic era. And so it's time to change that. And one of it's like there's a flip going on. This is parallel to the flip that happens when a little kid is born and he has a certain relationship with his parents and he has to listen to them. And at a certain point, he becomes an adolescent, and then he has to stop listening and find his truth from the inside. So what was once good is now bad. I don't know if I'm explaining well. I'm explaining fast, but there was a reason why the Jews had to be isolated. We had to wander from place to place. There are mystical reasons for it. I don't know if we want to get into it now. But when the time has come, and it was not only not possible to share Torah with non-Jews, it was a risk to our life. Like even to learn Torah, even like I think 35 years ago in Russia, I had friends who used to go to trips to Russia, to Soviet Russia, and they would take Jewish objects like tefillin, Torah prayer books, and they would have to get through customs by lying, not to have those things confiscated, because it was still a danger to life and liberty to practice Judaism in communist Russia. So the flip that's happening, people aren't really ready for it. Like we're kind of in shock about what's going on. We don't really see what's going on. The world, I believe that now the flip that's being called from us is that the world is ready to hear a deeper truth. They want the truth from the Torah. And again, Judaism is for Jews, but Torah is for everybody. Torah is the blueprint for the universe. And the process that we're going through, everyone here on earth is a part of it. Every soul that's here in a body is here because you have a role to play in this unfolding process, this metamorphosis. So for us to get out of, like you say, there are not many Jewish people speaking out on this level, because Jewish people have learned over the millennia that it's not safe, and that people around the world are not our friends. That was part of our developmental process, but now, we have to make that transformation, that transition, like an adolescent leaving childhood and taking risks and maybe making mistakes, because that's what has to happen when you grow up. And that's what all of us, this is a parallel for everybody on some level. But, you're saying for the Jews are not only being invited to step into a new role, but I think that if we don't take leadership in terms of telling the world what the Torah has to say, Torah prophecy, where we're going, the depth with which God loves every one of us and needs every one of us, if we don't take our role, as it says in the Torah, that we're a nation of priests, so to speak, we're here to teach about God. And if we don't do that, I think people are going to keep hating on us. Like we're like, fruit that got overripe. I think the solution to the anti-Semitism at this point is to step up and be a Jew. And if you're not a Jew and you resonate with Ellie or with any of this, step up and be part of the Jewish mission. You can be part of the Jewish mission by just accepting that role and wanting that role, and being our partners and spreading this metamorphosis. We're moving toward a world of heaven on earth. That's what awakening is truly about. And I would not be surprised if a lot of the white hats actually know, or at least some of them. Do you hear background noise?
Yeah, that's the wind is whipping through the windows. I'm sorry about that.
I thought maybe it was a kid or an animal.
No, sorry.
No worries. Anyway, so I don't know if that's too esoteric for people, but I tend to be on the spiritual side. If you guys have questions, if you want to know anything about my take on what's happening in Israel, I'm American. I made Aliyah. We emigrated to Israel 10 years ago. We just spent 18 months back in the U.S., mostly in Florida, but right now I was living in Jerusalem. Right now I'm in northern Israel, in the mystical city of the Kabbalist spot. And right out my window, I'm looking at right now it's dark, but I would be looking at the gravesite of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, like about 3 kilometers in that direction, straight across the valley. Yeah, it's amazing. The air is full of, you can feel it. It's full of godliness. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, godliness. I mean, I've never been to Israel, so I've been told that I'd really like it there, and I'm hoping to go, fairly soon. But yeah, that's definitely on my wish list. So yeah, I think it's pivotal, and I think you're right. I mean, I was talking to my friend Gila, and she said, her mother was very upset with her. Originally, she said, it's too dangerous for us to talk, because in the old world, it was dangerous for Jews to share with the world. But so now, but now we have to come out, and the Rebbe embraced technology very heavily.
Yeah.
And that's something that the rest of the Jewish community needs to really. And I'm seeing it. I'm really seeing, like, young guys on YouTube that I didn't see before. I know people come up to me. I had one guy in shul that was always, my politics are pretty out there, so he was always like, he's like, "What drugs are you taking?" And he was really quite hostile for a while, and now he says, "How can I call you? I want to start my own YouTube channel."
Yeah.
So
well, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I just wanted to say something about that, because last week you were talking to Mio. I think it was last week, the beginning of this week, sometime within the last week, and you started talking about, you've done it before, but I was tuned in, and you were talking about how you just have to start, you have to create a channel, you just have to video every day, you just have to do it, whether there are 13 people or more people or less people, and just, that's the main thing. And it started to, like a ball bearing, rolling around in my head. I could do this. Shifra, you could do this. You could do this. No, it's such a commitment. I'm not like, I don't. And then it would come back, and okay, it's a few days later, but I'm launching my own show tomorrow.
Oh, Baruch Hashem.
Miracles and Metamorphosis. Thank you. And I'm going to run on multiple platforms. And if you guys are interested, I'll check me out, and I'll have guests, and maybe you'll be one of my guests, and we'll take a lot of questions, and we'll really work it out together. Like, we don't want to be in a state of fear. That's the biggest enemy that we have. And we're wired to it. What human being has not had trauma? Who could look around this world and think there's no reason to be afraid? But yet, if we're connected deeply enough, and if we understand what's really going on, and how it's all God, and how we're part of it, and not only that, how our consciousness and our actions and our intentions and our alignment can literally change the flow of how things go where they're going, we don't have no clue how much impact we have. Like, we'll read something in the intel. Do we know which of our good acts, which of our shifts, which of our acts of kindness or our prayers have actually created that, accelerated a process, saved people from having to go through something hard, saved lives? We don't know, but we have to know that this is our role. We might not know individually, but when we understand, the first time I ever, the Rebbe created a lot of projects to spread Judaism, and one of his projects early on when I became observant was to have little kids buy a letter in a Torah scroll, because the Torah is here to unite. It says the Torah is here to bring peace to the world. So I got involved in that project, and I had no history of activism or anything, but I just got involved. And I remember I was working in Manhattan. I was a computer programmer. I was working on Wall Street, and I went into the bathroom in this old building, and I was looking out the window and I was thinking, I'm a partner with God. It was unbelievable. You know why? Because I'm a fear-based person. Not now, but I've always been. And I could feel that as a partner with God, there was nothing to be afraid of. And I really felt it in my body. It was like a revelation. So that's one of the many things I'd like to share with this incredible family. We're our soul family. And you want to know that when you step up to partnership, and that can be just as simple as you get up in the morning and you say, thank you, God. There's a Jewish prayer that we say every morning, thanking God for restoring our soul. And it's like a reboot of our system, because when the soul goes up at night, it's called the 60th of death. It cleans us out. We all know that I just need to get a good night's sleep. I'll wake up fresh. That's because the soul went through a cleansing process, and now it's back here starting again. So we acknowledge that and start the day fresh with intentions. And then when we see someone and we smile and say hi, even if we don't know them or don't love them so much, even that is already being part of the solution. So we're either going to be overcome as victims by all these events, which is what the other side wants, obviously, or we will be part of the solution. And there's so many ways we can fight back, and some of them are super simple. So we have to know that they're using our energy to fuel their plans. We need to take it back. And when we just consider ourselves step into that role of partner with God, it's truly life-changing. I also have, I don't know if you've talked about this, but I also really believe that these increased efforts now, even though God's orchestrating all of it behind the scenes, but from the human perspective, all of these negative things that are being foisted on us are because we're rising up. Our consciousness is rising up. We are in the metamorphosis, and they've got to tamp it down. And they're doing everything they can to tamp it down, to take that energy of the soul's rising and push it in a direction that works against us. So, consciousness equals choice. We need to know what's happening and who we are and how powerful we are, how important we are, every one of us.
Yeah, I think that, and that plays out in the political arena too. They talk about false flags, about how the enemy puts out these events to keep us from understanding what's really going on. And what's really going on is the enemy is being squarely and utterly and completely defeated, and the storm is upon us. All this information is coming out. It's not just political information. It's like you said. It's information from the Rebbe. It's information from Torah. I mean, it's like the thing about the sun coming out of its sheath. We've been hearing that in the Jewish community for decades, for years, and we never really, like you said, we never really knew what that meant. But now we're finding out. I mean, this thing with the firmament. I saw a thing with somebody had a chunk of this blue ice. Have you heard of this? That there's actually, when you get to a certain place in Antarctica, that there's this wall of blue ice that they're saying that the firmament could actually be. I mean, we don't. In other words, we know
We
so
don't know.
little.
Yeah, we don't know
We
anything.
don't know what's going on. I'm sorry about the light, but yeah, I think it's great, and I really, I'm so excited for your new channel, and I really, will do whatever you can. Come on our channel and give us a link during the chat, and I'll pin it so people
Okay.
can follow you, because I know you've done, you have a real, there's something about being a balashuv, and that's maybe something that a new concept to people, but a balashuv is a master of return. And a lot of people in the community, and this was something that the Rebbe really encouraged. We came from secular homes. I personally had no exposure really, except for going to bar mitzvahs, to Judaism. I didn't go to shul, and at some point in my life, I was kind of like recruited. Let's say God said, "Okay, man, come on over this way," and so we're considered masters of return. We don't really know, how this. We don't understand the underpinnings, the whole history. Why my soul? Why not somebody else's soul? Like in the beginning, I was constantly like, why me, man? I mean, I
Yeah.
get so many people that are so much holier than me. I mean, and, why,
Me too.
but it's that's what God wants. It's like, okay, listen, stop questioning and just that's what I want you, and you got to do it. So, I'm really really excited, Shifra, for you starting the channel, because it's so important because there are people that I can't reach that only you can reach, and there are people that you will reach that will reach other people, and it's just like a cascading effect. And really, we're at a place where we're there. I mean, the Rebbe said we're already there. You just have to open your eyes. So we're all opening our eyes as a global community to the fact. I mean, I'm hearing it from like this guy do you know SG Anon? And
I started, yeah. I mean, I know his channel.
I'm just saying, like, we're hearing
Yeah,
it from so many different sources.
yeah.
He's saying, you don't know your power. You don't know how important you are. You don't know who and this is just like, we're hearing it on so many different levels. And so, I just want to, encourage people to really follow their hearts and really do, try, I said this morning, I made a tape this morning and I put together that we are leaving Egypt. We are leaving the matrix. The matrix is going down. We can see it for the first time in history. We really can see the matrix, but we haven't quite come into the promised land yet. We're like, just like we're finishing Exodus now, right? We're going into Vayikra, into Leviticus, and then we'll be going into the midbar. So we still have to go through this, like, kind of push through the wilderness, I think. Like you were saying with the caterpillar, we have to
Yeah,
go through this
exactly.
metamorphosis in order to get to the promised land. But you're already there, Baruch Hashem, and
I know. You know what? The promised land isn't what it's promised to be yet. That's for sure. It's
yeah, I
really,
know there are a lot of
this place is captured at least as much as every other place.
yeah,
And
if not more so. I think the enemy really focuses on Eretz Israel because it is so holy.
yeah, it's the center of the universe. It's the place of the beginning of creation. A free breather is asking what God we're speaking of. Is there more than one God? I'm unaware. I only know about one God, creator of heaven and earth and beyond.
Right. We talk about Hashem. We talk about, I think, in all religions, it's the same God. It's the one God. There are, like, even in, like, my friend Vinay from Nepal, the Hindus have, on the surface, it looks like they have many gods, but they also believe in this one God who manifests in many different ways. Just like in
Mhm.
Judaism, we say, there's one source, there's one God, but there are many different names for God as he appears in our reality. The blue
Yeah, I
jacket.
mean the core concept in Torah mysticism of God. If there's what people say God is love. I appreciate love, obviously, but I don't I don't ascribe to that description because God is everything. And if you want to give God a word, you could give I think the word truth, because everything comes from God. And actually, the core principle of reality, according to Kabbalah, is Ein Od Milvado. In Hebrew, it means that there's nothing except for the one. And what does that say about each of us? I mean, my ego's not we're God in costumes. Let's say we have denser costumes or lighter costumes, layers of costumes, but I think that when we really realize that we're living inside, we're thoughts and words and art, living art inside of this vast consciousness. What God are we talking about? There's a famous rabbi from the 1700s called Reb Levi Yitzchak of Barditchev, great holy tzaddik, a rebbe, and he said he was confronted by an atheist at one point. The atheist said to him, I don't believe in the God that judges and kills people and whatever. And Reb Levi said to him, the God you don't believe in, I don't believe in either. So what is God? That's a really good question, but not which God. God is that which there is only one. And that's worth exploring. There's nothing more worth exploring than that.
I didn't know that came from Rabbi Levi. I thought the Rebbe had said that, but that's
I'm sure he's quoted it, but it's Reb Levi, the original.
It's an amazing thing. Like, and that's, I mean, that's a beautiful, I mean, and that's what Shifra has so much to offer to the community in terms of, like, she's a little more connected to the Torah side, I think, than me. I'm kind of a little more on the Intel side. And I know my community, a lot of times they're screaming, please, Ellie, could you do more
I
Torah?
know.
So
Oh,
that's why it's so important that you be out there, because there's so many different ways of looking, and it's not one size fits all. It's like it's a kaleidoscope of ideas, and you can present ideas, but this idea that, the same God you don't believe in, I don't believe in, is so important for our community, because so much of religion has been weighted down with this, you're a sinner, you don't measure up. And I think that really comes from the other side. I don't really think that's what Source intended us to feel about ourselves.
Or it's a stage in our evolution. Like I brought up that little kid idea. A little kid is told to educate a child in a healthy way. Obviously, you have to give them love, but you have to tell them, no, you don't just go like cutting up the sheet with the knife and drawing on the walls and biting your sister. And if you do, you get a timeout. I mean, it's obviously deeper than that, but there's stages in our evolution, and mankind was very primitive and barbaric. And some people still are, but most people, even with all the suppression and the coercion and the brainwashing, most of us are awakening, and most of us have good intention. And maybe we're misinformed. We're all misinformed in one way or another. But we want to do the right thing. We want to be good. We want to be a contribution. So that's because we've reached a certain state of maturity, which goes with the times, that goes with where we are. And that's why there's such a war against us now, because when the kid realizes that he's an adult and he doesn't have to be a victim of what you say, controllers, then the controllers really have to clamp down with everything they've got. And that's what's happening. By the way, I just want to say I've been since 2017, before October, but since 2017, I started being glued. Like I really lost a lot of time. I couldn't every minute, say, talking about Intel, every minute seemed like something was going to happen. The dam was going to break. The whole world was going to change. And I was glued to every influencer on YouTube. I went from one to another, that 16 plus one letter of the alphabet, everything. I got clued in within the first week. I followed everything. I was going to bed at 2, 3, getting up at 10, 11. And that went on for a couple of years. And it had a negative effect on my body. And in stages, I started to realize this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. It doesn't matter what anybody believes is going to happen. That's what already happened. So I start to look at that. And then I look at a lot of the influencers. I hope it's okay. I'm just telling you what I think, but
Sure.
Even the ones that I really have ascertained are legit, like who knows, but they're those that predict a lot of good things, and they seem to be promoting positive behavior, empowered behavior on our part. But even they, like one of them, I don't know if can I mention the name of somebody?
Please.
Tori Says, if you guys have followed Tori at all, like I found her 4 years ago, maybe. And I was glued to her because she seems to be a true insider, and she's gotten people to start court cases and to go to their school boards and to elect people. And she ran for office. But even she said 2 years ago, I'll never forget this. She said, if you knew how many psyops were being directed at you, she said, if psyops were like bullets, you would be as full of holes as a strain or as a sieve, and it's from both sides. She said it's from the both sides, the white hats and the black hats. And she said, don't trust me. Don't believe anyone. Because we know that number in that letter in the alphabet said disinformation is necessary. So how can we possibly, like, how long do we, and this is one of the things I really appreciate about you, Ellie, and where I've watched you go since I started watching in the summer, that you're telling people, let's live now. Let's make freedom for ourselves. Let's be part of this awakening. Let's be imaginal selves. Let's create good lives. Let's be wealthy and abundant. Let's connect in the ways that we will be connected in the future. Why wait? And we can't know. The past has proven to us that we can't know. And by now, I still check Telegram probably 5 times a day. Sometimes if I'm bored, 15 times a day, 20 times a day. Although I've started listening to you instead in the morning because you're uplifting. And I started noticing that I get that sense, like I'll wake up with that reset, that freshness, and then I'll tune into something and I'll get this anxiety in my body. Maybe it's low level, or maybe it's high level. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm disempowering myself, and that's what they want. So I think the more independent we can be, and yeah, we all want incredible things to happen. But here's another thing. Yesterday, I was speaking to a different influencer who's quite psychic and deep. And he was saying, and I asked him, do you think that, Mr. T, the white hats, that they have it handled, like all of this, and it's going to be easy? And he said that there's some things, yeah, they have plans. There's some things, but they're not running the show. They don't even know exactly what's going to happen because God is running the show, and it's like a birth process. If for whatever reason, when there's a process of a state change, I call it metamorphosis, from one stage of existence to another, and you can see this with a baby being born or a chick hatching from the egg, or it's all over nature. These are living analogies, living mashalim, to use the Hebrew. So when you have a state change, there has to be a process, and it involves constriction. Like the chicken. I used to lived in Chicago, and they had in the Science and Industry Museum, they had this egg chicken hatching thing with warmers, and I used to watch the chickens, and they were all these different eggs. Some of them were just eggs, and others were like these wet chickens, hanging out of the egg. And then there were the ones in the middle that they were, that you could see they were inside the egg, and there was a crack. And then there was a bigger crack. Then there was a piece out of the egg, and the chicken didn't know what was for the chicken. It's like, what's going on here? Life has gotten so constricting. It's awful. I have no room, and it's struggling out. It's breaking the egg. And if you think you're the egg, you have a problem. That's what makes us so scared. When you know you're the chicken and you're moving into a new stage of life in the physical world, a world of heaven on earth. This is what's promised to every human being in the Torah, every good and decent human being. You don't have to be a tzaddik. You don't have to be perfect at all. You just, don't want to murder like hundreds of people, and you're probably okay. But anyway, we're squeezing our way out. Life is being designed to catalyze a squeezing out for us, because that's what brings us our empowerment. Like the story of I don't know if you ever heard of the story of I don't know if it's real even, but some guy saw a butterfly in a cocoon trying to get out of the cocoon. He felt bad for it, so he cut the cocoon, and the butterfly just sat there limp, and it could never fly because it's apparently the pressure of breaking through the cocoon, pressing out of the cocoon, pressed the liquid out of the butterfly's wings and activated its flight powers. And we all have flight powers, and they're being activated. We just have to know, we're conscious. Like all these other things happen by instinct. There's no conscious choice in the matter. We are conscious, so we are awakening ourselves, and we can make it go hard or easy. We can make it go struggle, caterpillar, if we stick to that, caterpillar fear matrix, or we can make it go miraculous. And we have so much power. And when two of us are together, quantum more power. Three of us together, it's exponential. Am I talking too much?
No, it's wonderful. I can't wait to have your channel. No, it's wonderful. It's great. No, I talk all the time. I mean, it's great. I'm sure my people are very happy to have a break. And I think we're kind of we're totally on the same page. We feel that we have this information we want to share, and the world is ready, and we don't need to be afraid anymore. We can't be afraid. We won't survive if we're afraid. Look what they've been doing to us. I mean, it's just we can't deal with it anymore. It's done. They're done. But the market is crashing today. Everything is good. I can't say enough.
That's a good attitude. The market is crashing today. Everything's good.
Yeah, I know. That's the kind of being a 17 follower.
You know the inside story. You know that this is if you didn't know that, if you were a mother having a baby and you didn't know what was happening, it would be really scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so when we know what's happening, I call it like the frame. When we have that frame to the picture, when we have that picture on the top of the puzzle box, that's one of the things I want to share with people so much, because it changes everything, and it doesn't take long. It takes an hour, 2 hours to get the core principles, the prophecies. You see, it's all coming true in front of your eyes. It happens to be that, it says in the Torah that the hearts of kings and rulers are in the hands of God. Like when God appoints a ruler, doesn't have to be a king, but somebody who controls an army is considered a king according to the Torah, has that power. They have the power of life and death. So God appoints those people because he has a job for someone to do. So it happens to be that he appointed Mr. T here, I'm in love with him. I think he's an amazing. Actually, there's a rabbi here in Israel. Well, he lives in New York and Israel, but he says that Mr. T is a messianic figure from Esau, that there's such a thing. Because the role, according to the Torah, the role of the non-Jewish nations is to create a world of justice and righteousness, to eliminate evil. And what is happening here? So much evil coming to the floor. The prophet Daniel also talks about this time. He says, this famous phrase in Hebrew, he says, "Yisparo v'islavna kol advarim," that in the end times, which we're in, it's not the end, it's the end of evil. It's the beginning of the greatness, of the wonder, of the awakening. But in those times, there will be a sifting out. Because good and evil, from when Adam and Eve were seduced by the snake, the reptile, and ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil got mixed up together, so people couldn't tell the difference. That's how we got to this place. And at the end of days, the prophet Daniel says it will all sift out. And he says the wise will understand. They'll see what's going on in front of their eyes. Hello, guys, Kabbalah Guru family. The wise will understand. Name yourself wise and help other people understand. The foolish will not understand. And it's a process. We're all on one train, but we're in different cars. People like us, we're in the front car, and we're navigating. Exactly which we are switching tracks here. Which way are we going? And we want to be in communication with the people behind us and help them move up. One car, move up one seat. But we're all going to the same place, and we're all in it together. And it's so important to know that.
Beautiful. I feel like, maybe I did one good thing in my life to inspire you to start a channel. It's just, I was, and I was thinking, when you talk about this evolution of consciousness, when I first started, I'm constantly getting, not constantly, but I've been taken down a lot on YouTube, and I always tried to start my live shows on Rumble. And I never could do it because it's so complicated. I had all kinds of techies helping me. But now with Restream, it's not, it's not easy. And if you have any trouble with it, I'll be glad to show you. It's just a matter of cutting and pasting a few things. But that's what took me so long to get started today, was that I had to set up my Rumble, the Facebook, the other ones, they do automatically. But the Rumble was, for some reason, you have to cut and paste. But that's not bad compared to what it used to be. It used to be you had to get on the streaming platform that, even my son, who's like a techie, he says, this is not for people. So in other words, the technology is really, we're in this unique position. And I'm just like, I'm so excited about your new channel. And, come and share it with a link. When you're on the chat, make sure you identify yourself, and
Okay.
we'll pin your link so people can, because there's plenty of room for everyone. We are the news, and we will be able to you will be able to share in ways that I can't share, and that's a good thing. It's like more the merrier. So, and I think you'll really like it too. I know for me, it really shapes my life to have, to be broadcasting a lot. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I've interrupted you. Please continue.
No, I'm just saying that, I was so frustrated. I worked in the public school system for 20 years, and I thought, I got this message, man. They won't let me talk. They're like, where's the lesson plan? What skill are you teaching the kids? And I'm just like, these are human beings, man. What do I have to teach them? But here, like, I'm finally getting a chance to really share what I feel that I need to share. And I think you also, I'm just really excited for you.
One of the things, and thank you so much for inspiring me. One of the things that I found intriguing about you from the beginning when I first stumbled on your channel is your stream. You have a very unique way of, and I'm sure you know it, but you have an entirely unique way of seamlessly flowing from, playing your guitar to talking about your love life to
lack thereof,
to explaining the Torah. And I even, I just got such a kick out of I still do, the fact that you share words often without translating them. Like, there's something very beautiful about it, because you're just being in your world and you're sharing yourself in your world in such open ways, sea glass and whatever. I aspire to do more of that. I'm like a teacher. I'm not in my real life. I'm, have many different ways of being, but I always feel that that's my job online. So I would love to be able to, I don't play the guitar, but I would love to be able to like be more of that. Like, I think that the more we can all be personal and why do you have so many people watching you? So of course, I'm asking myself this because, I broadcast and I think, and why am I watching you? That's the main question I ask myself. And it's because there's something so soothing about just being with someone who's upbeat, who understands what's going on, who's not scared, who's building something, but without stressing. I'm sure there are moments when you stress, but in general, that's not your way of being. There's just, and who's talking Torah, but who's not, but from a, even, I just remember, I probably shouldn't say this, but I just remember, I told my husband about this. This was a few weeks ago. You said somebody sent you olives. You said, I have to check out if they're kosher. Well, I ate them. I'm like, so, I mean, as a teacher, I'm like, shouldn't laugh at that, but as a human being, it's like we're all human. We want to be better. We want to do our best, but we want to do our best out of love and joy. And so, yeah, best is really important. Right, at least, not wrong, not evil is like bottom line. I don't care whether you are miserable not being evil. Don't be evil, because we're not here to destroy the world. We're here to build it. But within that context, we're all here discovering ourselves and discovering each other, and to be able to be in love with each other for who we are, and to encourage each other. That's one thing that for you, that you are for me, that you're encouraging me to be able to be to explore more online, being who I actually am, and like, sharing in a more of a stream of consciousness way, like, oh, you guys, I'm nervous today. I just came from I don't do that. I'll come on and I'm like, hello, and try to be like, make a presentation. Not that it's not authentic. It's very authentic, but it's, what I'm saying. Anyway, thanks, JD. So yeah, Guru is unique. He is unique. We are having a conversation as two Aquarians. I think it's going all right.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I was worried. I was nervous about that, but it's really like we're like one person in two bodies. I mean, it's just it's like there's no, that's how it is with Aquarians, I think, or But I mean, it's really true.
We were talking about your Virgo ex-wife, and my husband was standing there. And my husband used to push, like, in a nice way. But when I go to put a dish in the dishwasher, he'd like, no, let me. He's a Virgo. He had a specific. It always made me laugh. And I know, like, it drove him crazy. Probably still does, but he gave up, because I'm not going to do it that way, because I'm Aquarius.
That's
but
amazing.
like, I'll let him do it if it's so important to him. I don't even know what his method is, but he knows it has to be like that. Otherwise, it really, 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 really bothered him. He's such a sweet guy, but like, and he laughed too, because I didn't realize how much that stuff affects us. Like, I didn't, it was really funny. It was really funny.
Yeah, I don't know where that just popped in my brain, but yeah, she was. It was funny because she was a very off the wall person, but the dishes in the dishwasher had to be, it's like she could do weird, wild, insane things, but the dishwasher, when it came to the dishwasher,
yeah, I think that type has to have things a certain way that they really know, and they think that everybody else knows that that's the right way too, but they don't understand that we don't have a clue what they're thinking, and we never will. But that's okay. It takes all kinds.
Yeah.
So there's a question here, and I don't get the question, from Gerard. How do you get your head around something so massive as this? What do you know what Gerard means by so massive as this?
Maybe the goal, or this transition. I mean,
is that what you mean, Gerard?
Moving through this together.
What's happening? It is massive. You know what? Whatever you mean, it is truly massive. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, it is massive.
And we've been, those of us who have been, I don't know, people here, probably some of you guys have been following Intel longer than me, and some maybe less long. Like I said, I'm like fall of 2017 that I'm like glued. But it step by step, you read things and see things, and you think, this is insane. This is not true. And then you find out it's true. And like the first time I remember what I would call this level of awakening to like whatever's going on beneath the surface. Well, the main thing that catalyzed me was somebody told me to see the movie Zeitgeist, which was about the FED Url reserve, whatever that. And when I realized that they're not actually a federal organization, that it's a group of private, I'm like, what? And I didn't believe it. And when I researched, I Googled it. You don't have to research much. And I realized it was true. I'm like, it's all a lie. I didn't realize how much was a lie, but I actually think that when you get that first, and this is going to happen to everybody, I bet it happened to everybody here in one way or another at one moment in time, that you realize something that you knew was true wasn't. And at that point, that cascade starts where the mind starts to question more and more, which is what I mean when I say it's like a time of disruption. It disrupts our concrete ways of thinking, which has to happen because we're moving into something different. And yes, it's a big deal. And yes, the ego, the identity, our sense of self, the main thing that it wants is for things to stay the same, for us to know how things are, to know how it's going to unfold, which is one of the reasons why it's so important. I'm sharing from my heart here. It's so absolutely important to connect with God, and the mystical Torah provides, it actually changes the brain. It's designed to change the brain so that the brain becomes a vessel for divine consciousness. And you start to, and then you learn the prophecies, you start to see life, it starts to rewire the brain in a process that the Torah calls tivuna. When the brain, whatever your brain wiring is, that's what you know to be true. That's you I know this is true. I know that's because your brain wiring. That's your paradigm. When the brain wiring starts to shift, which happens both from the disruption that God's orchestrating here, using the white hats and the black hats and all of us. So when the brain starts to shift, it is uncomfortable. But when you start to wire in a deeper truth, that's proven itself. You can talk about people who are reliable with intel. The Torah prophesies so many things about these times thousands of years ago, and they're coming true in front of our eyes. If you don't know what they prophesied, you don't know what's coming true. If you do, it's like, wait, I'm inside of a divine process. And I have power here too, and I'm created for this. Everyone here was created for this. It is like relearning and restructuring your entire life, but that's what a baby does when it's born. That's what a caterpillar does. What could be better than transforming, even if it's weird and hard and scary and sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. And we can learn for it not to be scary more and more and more. But what could be better than turning from a worm that's looking down and looking for, its highest aspiration is a really nice juicy leaf and don't eat me, cat, don't step on me, to this magical creature. And what if the butterfly lives forever, like the Torah says will do once this process is finished? We will have magical powers and then some, but it won't be like, it will be, I don't know how to explain this. We're not merging back into nothingness. We're becoming what we truly are, so that we'll be simultaneously ourselves, but illuminated and expanded. We'll be in love with ourselves and each other and God. And can we imagine that? At the core of our soul, we kind of can imagine it if we think about it enough. But we can't really imagine it, but we're part of it. We're players here. Of all the generations past and all the generations to come, we are the players. It's not a joke. So if it's a little tough, if we have to work on ourselves, like, what are we here for after all? An artist, Michelangelo, didn't create David, didn't sculpt David while he was drinking coffee and like lying in bed getting his feet massaged. Everything beautiful requires work. Every vision, every transformation requires letting go of things, seeing things that might not be comfortable, but the result of it, and not at the end, but as you do it, every time you transcend something or, see the cause of a trigger that you have and heal that. And that can happen in an instant. There's so many modalities now. It's so easy. It can happen with a thought. It can happen with a prayer. We're being guided. That opens up new gates to completely new experiences on the spot. And they're wondrous. We're living in a wondrous time. And so, when I hear people, I get a kick out of it. It's funny when, the intel, I so get why you're bored with the intel. Like, how many times, I still, like, I type in 107 and I'm, no, don't go there. You're going to listen to him. He's going to say something and it's not going to happen. How many times do you have to, how many times, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 15,000 times, shame on me. Like, go use your time somewhere else, I say to myself. So, more and more I'm feeling like that. And I'm not saying that I did say I go on to Telegram quite often, but I don't take it very seriously. Because no matter what anybody knows, first of all, most people are lying to us. I really believe that. And I don't know who or when. And I don't like to be fooled too many times in a row. And also, people don't know, because this process is a God process. Like this influencer I said I was talking to, who has like strong intuitive powers. He said there's a block after, I can only see up to 2025. Or maybe 26, there's a block. They're not letting me see after that. And I'm like, is that the ultimate redemption? Is that when, the resurrection of the dead? Like, nobody knows. And anyone who tells you they know, they don't know, either lying or they don't know that they don't know. We're spinning off into a singularity. The past does not equal the future. It already doesn't, but that's getting quantumly more. So if we really, really want to be excited, and we really, really want to live our soul purpose while gaining prosperity and happiness and health, and everybody here could have a platform. Ellie's been saying he's here to help everybody have a platform. That's when the Rebbe first started talking about Mashiach. I was living in Crown Heights then, and I had just lost a baby, and I was very I'm not going to say the story now, but I was very, very sensitive, very tuned in. I'm like, I heard the Rebbe say Mashiach is coming and we can make it happen. I'm like, you mean we can change the world and don't have to have death? And, it just like, I started to feel like my soul was burning, like the burning bush. And so I got really involved. And at the time, like people, it was a new thing, and people who wanted to get together and talk, they created a conference call, and it cost like $800 to have this conference call for like 20 people to connect in different parts of the country. And now anyone here, JD, Gerard, Tom, who else is here? Lori, any of you could get on and start a live stream, and it's easy. And even if you just affect a few people, or if people have each other on their platforms, that's called joint ventures. Everybody here it could be a circle where everybody creates a platform and has everybody else's guests and shares people. And before you know it, you'll be live streaming too. And then we're shooting out light into the world rather than cowering in the darkness or glued to another promise that may or may not ever come true. And that's not the reason why we're here. Again, go for it if you want to. I sometimes wonder why people want to hear you read a Telegram chat that they could go on and read, that I read 5 minutes. It's there for everybody, but I guess it's soothing also. But, I think it's fine to check out. It's fine to eat ice cream. It's fine to, look at the news, but don't take it so seriously, because it's not real. And what's real, one of the big things that I think we're all learning is we have no clue what's real.
Yep. That's beautiful. Well, I think we'll cut this off, but I'm just floored, and I it's amazing that you don't have a channel already. I mean, you're just amazing, and a lot of people are just really completely taken. So I hope this is a thing. I used to have a business. I was like a fixer guy, and somebody said to me,
I'm contracting. I saw
yeah,
you. I found you online.
I was a contractor, and people said, I would say to people something like, I don't have any competition. And they said, no, he said, you don't have a business. If you don't have competition, it's not really a business. Right. So I hope you will be my competition, and that we will be both really rocket off a lot of other satellite competitions, and that the whole world will be basically like, I once was at a network marketing thing, and they lit a candle. There was a stadium full of people. I don't know if you ever seen this, but somebody had a candle, and everybody had a candle, and they passed one light to one person, and in just a matter of minutes, it seemed like, in a few seconds, the whole place was lit up. Wow. So that too with the internet, man. I mean, the technology is there now, and the RABBI. I know I saw some of the RABBIs, some of the technology back. They had these rooms with all these phones, and it was, we don't have now.
No.
Now it's Restream. We have Restream. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And that's also not an accident, you guys. That's not just a coincidence or even a synchronicity. This is divine. God is providing the vessels for each of us to be the center of the universe and to shine your unique light into your portion of the world, which will grow and inspire other people. And like Ellie said, it takes a minute once people start to turn their light on. And we are being manipulated into keeping our light off. And one of the ways, and I hope nobody gets mad at me because I watch you fighting with your guys, your people in a loving way all the time. But one of the ways that we diminish our light is by getting focused on what's going to happen, make it happen. It's undetermined, it's consciousness dependent, and each one of us is here to be a player. So what do you want to have happen? Whether it's in your life or the world, and what can you do about it? And somebody said here, I don't have a clue. I didn't have a clue. I was complete wimp, disempowered. When I got activated, and every step of the way, it's there was the breakthrough, another breakthrough, and what was so impossible. Like 3 years ago, I was doing only audio. That was already a huge breakthrough. And somebody said to me, "Why don't you do video?" I'm like, "No, I don't come across well on video." And he said, "Yes, you do." And so I'm like, okay, it was so scary. And now it's like nothing. So this is how we grow. A little bit of what do you want and what's in the way, and then and you can get help take a little step past that, and all of a sudden you're in a new playing field, and your goals are bigger, and other people are following behind you and turning on. We're here to turn on that soul light and to turn on that inner redemption, and we are all in it together. Yeah, as the prophet says, in the days of Mashiach, all nations will serve Hashem with a common effort, in one language, in one pure language. It's real. It's real. Thank you. So let's take it home.
I mean, okay, beautiful, Shifra. I'm just it's just really exciting to have you here, and hopefully you'll come back and enlighten us some more. And just the only thing I just want to say to everybody, like, why am I successful? Because I mean, to the degree that I am, is because for some reason I heard somebody say when I first started making these videos, just do it and do it and do it, and don't look at how the numbers, don't look at how many people are following you, just do just it's that's just something you do every day. You make a video every day or every two other day, whatever it is.
Every
That's
week.
just what you do once a week. Yeah. But you make that video. And by doing that, you can turn over the world. Just keep
And when we do it together, 100%, 100%.
100% right. 100 times 100%. Yeah. All right, Shifra. Thousands of thousands. So blessings to you. And
to you.
we'll be back, everybody. I'm going to be back at 3:30 with Danielle. We're going to talk about ASEA, and then we'll be back at 7:45. It was such a pleasure and an honor to have you on, and I just wish you the best. And we're all going to be looking for your new channel, and just keep doing it, man. And you will be, nothing can stop what's coming. Hopefully, pretty soon they won't take down our channels anymore. And we can say what we really want to say,
right.
and all is good.
Right. Okay. Yeah, guys. So I'll be. It'll be 9 a.m. Eastern on my Facebook, Shifra HENDRIE, and my YouTube, Shifra HENDRIE, and Rumble and Instagram. We have to get it together. Ellie's going to help us.
Yeah, so and put it on YouTube too. Yeah.
Yeah. Putting on YouTube.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
Okay, thanks for inspiring me. Thank you, guys. You inspire.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Okay.
Okay,
all
guys. Right. God bless, and we'll see you soon.
What do I do now? I don't know how to say.
I got it.
Okay.
You're good.